Good evening, everyone. Maybe just a quick hello. Feel free to unmute, say good evening as people trickle in.
Hi, Mission Dharma.
Hi.
Hey, Howie.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hi,
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Howie.
Hello,
Hello.
hello.
Everybody.
Feel free to
You
say where
can't
you're
see my
calling in
face,
from.
but I'm here. Be
Okay.
well.
Calling from Victoria.
Yay.
Wow. I'm in Saskatchewan.
Wow.
Hi, calling from Vancouver Island.
Marvelous.
Calling from Easton, Maryland.
Oh,
Richmond, California.
yay.
Santa Rosa.
Sausalito, California.
Burlingame, California.
Eugene, Oregon.
San Francisco.
Yay.
That makes two.
San
Francisco.
I'm San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Okay, I'm almost dizzy from multiple locations. So happy to see all of you though, and just was so looking forward to practicing together in this mysterious format that somehow still allows us to feel as though we're a community that's supporting each other, being supported, and taking the opportunity to stop the war in our own minds, stop the war in the world, one person at a time. Always driven by the view that the world is the way it is because we are the way we are. We want to have a peaceful world. There has to be peaceful people, want to have a wakeful world, a compassionate world, that have to be wakeful and compassionate people. It's not something you can legislate. It's something that has to start within each of us. And that also inspires me that our minds are malleable, we are trainable, we can awaken, we can transform the reactive mind into the sublime, natural state of equanimity, balance, ease of well-being. And it's both a process of transforming and it's also a recovery, a discovery of what's always already there. So we will do both the transforming and the discovery tonight by putting our attention in the same location as our body. In a sense, stepping out of time, stepping out of our to-do list, out of our problem solving, out of our hopes, out of our dreams, out of our memories, and let ourselves dwell as evenly, as relaxed, as joyfully as we can in the living reality that we sometimes call the present. But we let go of all those names and words and whatever words there are, let them point to where words cannot go, to that, what we call direct experience. The Dharma is alive. It's not an adoption of theories and beliefs. It's a living experience that invites us to recognize the awesomeness and the mystery of our own nature. The first and most obvious mystery and wonder is the fact that there is consciousness, that we are aware. So as you close your eyes, notice how instantly you become aware of that inner landscape. We start to mix a little bit of investigation or curiosity with the calm and stilling that happens as we close our eyes and let our mind drop into our body and our body fill our minds. We explore this inner world that starts to take us beyond the idea of our body to that direct experience of sensation. So the idea of eyes melts away and there's just that contact. Eyelids. The concept of lips melts away and we feel that pressure or moisture. Hands melt away and we feel the tingling, aliveness. The rear end, buttocks, that idea melts away and we feel pressure, tingling, heaviness. Awakening to that direct experience of the elements of nature as they express themselves in this, what the Buddha called this fathom-long body. Earth, air, fire, water. A return to nature. Getting comfortable, hopefully, with this gentle inner turn, becoming interested enough that we feel a little bit less wanting to be somewhere else, more actually living the life that we have. Sitting body sitting, breathing body breathing, just knowing what this experience is. What is this experience that we call sitting, breathing? What's it like? Not compared to some historical experience. But what's it like to just feel it? The texture of each arising breath. To meet that sound that may come as though you've never heard a sound before. With the knowledge you will never hear that sound exactly that way again. And when a mood comes, we experience it with wonder, not as a problem to be solved, not as part of our to-do list, but as a living experience. This is what a mood is like, and see what happens to it. To even experience the thoughts and images that inevitably will present themselves as another mystery of the nature of the mind. It thinks. Approaching everything with the openness and the attitude that there is nothing to do about what is true and here. There's nothing to undo, nothing to fix, nothing missing, nothing to want. Just letting the process unfold as it will. Just this breath, this sound, this mood, this thought. Heart open, welcoming, impartial, joyful, responsive. this moment, this life. And knowing that we're likely to drift into daydreams, incarnate in our thoughts. Eventually, mindfulness will re-arise. At that moment, we celebrate the re-arising of mindfulness, that moment that we can then again clearly comprehend this awesome experience of being here. We don't judge having drifted, it's just mind, just conditioning. We take advantage of that reawakening and we open to the joys, we open to the sorrows. We stay here, stay aware. We settle back, enjoy the ride, enjoy the body's experience of breathing and living, sensing just this moment. This quiet environment of awareness is like a fertile ground for the creative expression of our mind, proliferation of thoughts, memories, things getting worked out, plans. Everything can arise into this open field, but we don't follow it. We graciously notice the thinking mind thinking, the feeling mind feeling, the hearing mind hearing, but we cling to none of it. We take joy in the process of mind. We don't get involved in the content so that we can stay here and not miss our life. No matter how far you've imagined that you've gone in your imaginings, each moment you wake up to where you are, embrace this awareness, embrace this body that is always here. Bring them together so that mind and body are one thing. Bodyfulness, just this moment, just these senses, just this life. In the last minutes of the practice, now that the disparate threads of yarn, the yarn of mindfulness, have hopefully culled together into a blanket, more of a field of more embracing mindfulness, more continuous. Just let your body be wrapped in this blanket of mindfulness, as though this blanket is just filled with the spirit of loving kindness and compassion, healing, safety, simplicity. And just let your body be cradled in that safe blanket of mindfulness. From the top of your head to the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes, let no part of your body be left out of this field of loving awareness. So this field of awareness is saying, wishing for you to be happy, to be peaceful, to be healthy, to have ease and well-being, to feel safe with yourself and safe in this world. Let's bathe in the inherent worthiness of your existence, this miracle of life, right where it touches you. And rest in this natural peace. And if you feel to wrap your blanket around everyone you're sitting with, feel free. And since our mind has no limits or location, you can wrap it around the entire world. No one left out. Impartiality toward all beings. Compassion toward all beings. Goodwill toward all beings. Wishing joy to all beings. Thanks for putting up with my mind during that sitting. I tried to take you on a ride through my own inner world just now. And so I really appreciate you hanging in there, and felt really happy and fortunate to be in a Sangha field. And just felt this evening, I felt the power of the lineage, of the history of thousands of years, people coming together and practicing and awakening and purifying their hearts, their actions, their minds, their understanding, and just that current of Sangha, of the Arya Sangha, the Sangha of awakening, that without it we would not be here. And how this lineage of practice, it's based on history, based on things that began long before us, that we have been impacted by. It just puts me in a state of wonder. And yet it also, there's a shadow side to it too. At least tonight, it put me in a state of some degree of, I had some little mental reaction of worry that the purity of the Dharma, of the teachings that are really all about awakening and the heart's release and the potential for the diminishment of our reactive mind, the diminishment of a mind that's continually making the world a problem. The lessening of suffering, all those teachings and practices that have been carried so beautifully and contained in these lineages, in these traditions, which I've sometimes downplayed as, that's just form, or that's just history, and let's just be with the freshness of things. But I just noticed that that people like me and who basically devote my life to sharing the teachings and whatever my limited understanding of the essence of the teaching, really focusing on the Dharma. People like me are actually diminishing. And when I say me, I mean all those who have lived their lives within a lineage of sorts, within a certain aesthetic, a certain essence of the teaching that you find in monasteries, you find in all over the world. But because of the modernization of the Dharma, because of the secularization of the Dharma, which is a wonderful thing in terms of making some of these teachings available to so many people, but because of the I hate to say it, because of the financial stresses that so many people have, they can't really afford to live their lives in this field of Dharma and just be a teacher. I haven't been able to just be a teacher. I didn't even mean to talk about this, but since I am, I'm going to go on. During the winter, I was, as many of you know, we temporarily moved to Arizona so my daughter could have some kind of in-person education. She's 17, junior in high school, and was not doing well with the online thing. And right next to the 2 doors down from the house that we were staying in during that time was a big Catholic church. And I've been to this house for many years, and I've watched this church evolve. And 2 doors down used to be a tiny little house in front of the church that was the rectory, or the I forgot what they call it, the house where the minister lived, where the priest lived. And in about 10 years ago, they bought a little piece of land behind the church, and they built a big house for the minister. And you can see that the whole structure of the church at rectory, somebody wrote me a text, thank you. The whole structure of the church is that they preserve certain traditions, and they may have many, many issues. And this is not an endorsement of the Catholic Church, but they have many traditions. And one of them is that they provide housing for their minister called the rectory. And this reminded me of the way it is in Asia, where people practice together, and the community that the monks and nuns are always living in close proximity to the community that they depend on for their support. And so that whoever's offering teachings is entirely supported by the community that is taking teachings. And this cybernetic relationship, this relationship of mutual support, mutual generosity, that is the container that has allowed the teachings to be carried forth, and those who offer teachings to be able to completely devote their lives, give their lives over to the support, to sharing the Dharma and supporting the community that they've been part of. In a few cases in this country, this has been carried over into our Western culture. But for the most part, our Western culture doesn't know how to do that, other than in terms of Buddha Dharma. We do it great in the church, not so good in the Buddha Dharma. I have to say, and this is no criticism, because I've been so cared for in my life, but in so many other ways. And I've so appreciated the generosity that has come to me from this Sangha. But if I depended on the support of this Sangha, I would starve. That's the truth. That is the truth. That we haven't really succeeded, except I know there are some communities that we haven't really succeeded in creating a system of mutual support and mutual generosity in this country. And what's happened for many is that they see the way that the teachers are really not supported enough to be able to give themselves over to the Dharma. And they're finding high-paying careers in the mindfulness field. And they get to have the joy of sharing a lot of the teachings, but it's not the same. It's in a way, it's trying to provide a salve for the whole corporate system, the culture that we live in, which is it needs elements of the Dharma, but that container of the teachings and the heart of the teachings of liberation, of the potential to really erase, in a way, the causes of suffering from our hearts and minds, and all that supports that, it's just not being sustained very well in this culture. And my worry is that the next generation, there won't be people who just really give themselves over. Before I knew any better, I spent almost 3 years of my life in silence. And I say that tongue in cheek because I knew that there was always a choice. Okay, I can just devote my life to, building my career and doing this and that. But I chose instead to use whatever resources I had just to go practice. People faced with that same choice now, they're just not as willing to choose that path, much more looking for a way to get supported a little better. So I just say this all because I would love for, I'd love for anybody who comes across my path to reflect on the container of the lineage and the teachings and that historical system of mutual support that has carried the teachings for thousands of years now. And to think and act, if it really goes to your heart, to think and act in a way that you consider that you really want to support its continuation. And not just this way that really filters into our Dharma world of just fee for service, teaching offered, dana received. It's much more of a relationship to a teacher, a relationship to the Dharma, relationship to all of life, and a relationship to an intention to awaken and to support the awakening of all beings, not just yourself. So I don't know if any of that, it was, a stream of consciousness, but that was my worry. But at the same time, I just felt that my own appreciation of the lineage tonight. And I'd like us to be successful in keeping that fire burning. Time will tell. And I try to learn to let go as well. Let go of any expectations so I can actually succeed in experiencing the true equanimity that says, yeah, things will happen according to conditions. And it's in some ways outside of my control, but I'm going to shout it from the hilltops while I still can. And while I'm still shouting, please be patient for a moment. This is always an awkward thing to say, but as I said earlier on, I am so appreciative to those who practice generosity regularly on Tuesday. Really, you have kept us afloat. But most of you don't know that we usually have upwards of 100 people, including the people who are on Facebook Live. And last week, 6 people offered dana. 6 people offered dana. Now, I know many people have monthly giving, and there's all kinds of ways that our community is supported, and I'm supported. But there's something wrong with that picture. Something isn't translating about this field of mutual support. And this is not an ask to give more dana tonight. I'm going to survive one way or the other. But just to put it in your mind about how do I relate to this community, this practice? And I'm not exaggerating. And more often than not, it's averages 15 people a week. Isn't that about right, Mary?
Yes, that's about right.
That's right. So anyway, thanks for listening, and maybe we'll take a few minute break, and then I have some further Dharma thoughts. Thanks for listening. Please take a little stretch. Don't go far. I'll hit the gong in a minute or two. Thank you. Hmm. I realize that we have not done any questions and comments for the last month or so. So I thought that I would just take a few minutes to respond or allow anybody to make any comments or questions, mostly about what you experienced in your practice tonight or what's happening in your life practice. And to Mary, could you give the assist for
Of course.
alerting us?
So down at the bottom of the screen, there's a button that says reactions, and there should be an option to raise hand. And if you can't find that, just shoot me a message and I'll make sure that you get in line.
So as I used to say in the past, if you have a comment or a question, it will likely be, feel free to say it because it will likely be of some support to someone else. So I call it part of this is a holy practice that the Zen tradition calls confessing our delusions, which is a very high practice. So anybody who feels to confess their delusions, I feel like every time I open my mouth, I confess my delusions. That's why it's kind of humbling being in this role. But anyone, I'm open to comments, questions. Please, Isaac. Was that first, Mary? Was Isaac first? Great.
Sure, I win! Yay! Um, I really enjoyed this evening's meditation. I moved positions and several times and started with a kind of a sore back, and then I ended up outside, and then I ended up laying down on a trampoline and looking up through the trees and watching hawks and the sun go down on the trees and I don't often meditate with my eyes open, but this was a really nice experience, and I particularly enjoyed the idea of trying to just be and experience the moment and the now. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I like that you made the practice your own and did it creatively. We do try to balance also that finding comfort with sometimes challenging not you, but I'm talking to everyone, challenging ourselves to also be open to when it's not comfortable and whatever it is that's happening, to let ourselves be in that place as well. So thank you. Glad you're here. I think Linda was next. Hi, Linda.
Oops.
There you
Hi,
are.
Howie. I didn't realize I put my hand up, but I guess my unconscious did it. I was debating whether to do it, so there you go.
There you go. Glad to see you again so soon.
Yes, nice to see you too. During the set, I was really suffering around a lot of second arrows. I was very aware of, just to back up, the first arrow is I have some physical pain that I'm dealing with. And I just kept watching the mind go into all the worst possible scenarios, and it's never going to get better, and feeling sorry for myself, a lot of stories about it. And I mean, the good news was that I was aware that I was doing that was going on, that the second arrows were just pretty much all over the place. And so eventually I was actually sit with the physical sensations and calm the mind down and notice the pain come and go and the different sensations of the pain. But it was really touch and go. I ended up feeling much better, calmer. But yeah, it's just really kind of humbling to see how much suffering we add to the picture. It's quite amazing. And I don't feel free of it. I don't, I just know that that's a place that will keep coming up. So
Yeah. Well, I love that you were paying attention to it all, but you just have to remember you didn't shoot a second arrow. Your mind has habitually shoots second arrows. It's conditioning, but there's no agent behind that. So that if you think that you did that, then that tends to be that extra arrow of judgment about it.
the third arrow.
The third arrow, exactly. And
Yeah.
so it's to see how that just came unbidden as a habit.
Mhm.
And I really benefited a lot from a teacher in my early retreats when I had a kind of relentless judging mind that was just ruthless, cruel in a way. And the teacher was giving the instruction on working with the judging mind. And one of the questions, you've probably heard this before, I'm saying this to everyone, is like, whose voice does that remind you of?
Right.
Mom or dad or some significant person, because it's all conditioned in there in a way. It's not as though Linda's in there saying, oh, now I'm going to shoot a second arrow. It comes. And it was so interesting when I saw that it was the voice of a parent or a grandparent, how there was a little more distance, and I could just see that this is just an old selfless process. And I actually felt a lot more compassion toward it. And so hopefully that if you know that your mind is prone to that, then you got to come armed with mercy, with just self-compassion as a method in a way, until that softens a little bit, that reactive mind. And sometimes it is so compounding that it's just about bearing the unbearable. So anyway, thank you, and it's really good to see you.
Thank you, Howie.
Joel, I think Joel was next, right? And Susan?
Hi, Howie. I realized how tired I am, and we've just recently started kind of opening up we were shut down really, really tight. And recently we've had guests over for dinner and have hugged people and talking to people on the street and, going back into stores. And I think I said here before, we spent a year practicing aversion. And it feels a little like coming out of a retreat. It feels like, I keep wanting to push the stop video button when I'm with somebody to take a break. And it's hard. And I think this might go on for a long time. I don't think it's something that'll stop quickly, but it's like unconditioning all the conditioning we've done for a year.
What was that last thing you said?
It's like unconditioning all the conditioning we've done for a year.
Yes.
And we've really practiced this.
Well said. Well said. Well, it as we talk about at the end of retreats, however long you've been on retreat,
Yes, exactly. I thought of that the other day.
the second half of the retreat. So it's always encouraged to be very patient, know that you'll get exhausted, you'll go through ups and downs, you'll go through mood swings. And I've relied heavily, and I just shared this with a group that where we just finished a week-long retreat last week, I've really relied on the remembrance that even this integration process of the re-entering process really only takes place a moment at a time. And the last one it's already done. The next one hasn't happened. And I know that if I just take it in bite sizes in how it actually is, which is, right now it's just you and I talking. And if I can remember that I'm integrating whatever happens into where I am right now, because I can't do any more integration than this moment's worth. I can't integrate the next moment. I can't integrate the one before. It's already gone. But I can handle this one. So if I just keep cutting through the story building, not you, but everyone, the story building of what we've been through and what we will have to get used to again. I can just balance that with remembering it's a moment at a time. So good luck. So far, so good. And you are one of so many people that have been telling me how exhausted they are. Every day I'm having that conversation. So I think there is a process going on for many people. It needs to be balanced with a lot of gratitude, and we're alive and still can practice. And just think of all our blessings at the same time, not denying that it's challenging. Anyway, thank you, Joel. And I think maybe we'll make a transition now, unless there's someone else who. Anyway, I've been wanting to read this little thing that my life partner, wife, Annie, showed me from a psychologist who sent out this thing that said, and this is really about integration, the urgency culture that we live in. It looks like this. Texting back immediately or expecting texts back immediately. Expecting immediate results or quick fixes. A belief that you're running out of time or it's just too late to start something. Expecting yourself or others to have an opinion, emotion, or statement on something immediately. Seeing age or time frames as concrete limitations. That is, I can't do that at my age. So this urgency mind is a common theme I've been experiencing lately because I'm a little slow on the draw at responding sometimes to texts and emails, and there's a kind of incredulousness or a reactivity that comes. But our whole urgency culture is a culture of reactivity. And all the more reason why I find it so useful just on a daily basis to reflect on the Dharma, just like I was talking about earlier tonight. The Dharma points to the awakening of the heart quality, the mind quality of equanimity, of non-reactivity. So to be looking at our minds in the last 10 minutes or so, to be looking at our minds and how it is that we shoot extra arrows. How is it that we meet our life that is definitely has inherent pain, has inherent difficulties. What the Buddha talked about, the three kinds of suffering that all beings who are born experience. The first one is called dukkha dukkha, which is the garden variety: sickness, aging, dying, not getting what you want, not wanting what you get, just loss, just all the hard things in life. It's called dukkha dukkha. The second kind of dukkha is called anicca dukkha, or the dukkha of change, of impermanence.
Oh, shit.
The dukkha of impermanence. And impermanence is often coupled with anatta, not in control, which is not in control of Tuesday night. But so there's dukkha dukkha, anicca dukkha. And then the third kind of dukkha is called sankhara dukkha. Sankhara are mental formations or conditioning, basically. And sankhara dukkha is the constant impact of our senses, the formation, everything that we're perceiving, the perception, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, everything, and the relentlessness of it. And you can't stop it. You can't stop it. We have to deal with a lot of stressors. It's just that's how it goes if you're born. I was thinking today about this yoga center across from where I used to live in San Francisco. And it was called maybe some of you practice there, it's called the Integral Yoga Institute on Dolores Street. And it was led by a teacher named Swami Satchidananda. And Swami Satchidananda was a master marketer, and he was also often depicted on large posters in some kind of meditative posture, and they would be all over the planet. And one of them that was especially meaningful and also humorous was Swami Satchidananda in what's called the tree pose, the yoga pose. The yogis understand this tree pose. You're standing on one leg with your body contorted in a certain way, hands in the prayer mudra like this. And they had a picture of Swami Satchidananda in the tree pose, standing on a surfboard in the middle of an ocean. And the caption was, "You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. Come meditate with Swami Satchidananda." So whatever the tradition, it points to, you can't stop the waves of sight, sound, smells, tastes, things that you have to deal with. Sankhara dukkha includes everything that you have to do to live a life. The way we get up and we have to cook and eat and clean and then shop and then work and then clean some more and eat some more, and it just goes on and on and on. And from a certain vantage point, that it's dukkha. It's hard to bear. You can't stop those waves, but you can learn to surf. You can learn to meet them with less reactivity, less complaint. So I just wanted to drop we're really running low on time. I wanted to drop this word equanimity, this quality of balance of mind. It comes from the word in the Pali, upekkha. It means to look over, to see with a certain perspective, to see with a certain impartiality. And it is embedded in the practice of mindful attention. If you're practicing mindfulness, you are practicing non-reactivity. Of course, what we see are many of our reactive patterns, as Linda described so beautifully in her description of dealing with her body dukkha. But mindfulness begins to replace the moments of reactivity with moments of impartiality, moments of openness, moments of goodwill. So don't underestimate the power of mindful attention brought to whatever it is you're doing. Just knowing, oh, this is dukkha, this is body pain, this is stress, this is exhaustion. and just let the chain of reactivity be cut at that moment if you can. Just don't feed the story of it anymore. Cut it off. Even if you see that your mind is really prone to stories, there are methods of just stopping, don't go there, so to speak. But the Buddha even evolves his teachings to consider that some of us are just so prone to take that bait and really start proliferating that he said, if you really need to, bite your tongue, grit your teeth. Don't let your mind feed those reactive patterns. But as an inoculation from these reactive patterns, we practice as continuous mindfulness as possible. And we practice, just as the Buddha recommended, we practice loving kindness every day. It has to be it has to be part of our practice. Every day when you wake up in the morning till the time you go to bed, that if you continually dropping goodwill, it is the seed of equanimity, the seed of impartiality is a soft heart. So I think I'll just end with the Metta Sutta. Again, good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end, good time and time again. This is what should be done by those who are skilled in goodness and who know the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Here it comes. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings. We're all in this together. We all have sankhara dukkha. You know, it's interesting, a little aside while I'm still on this topic of equanimity. Equanimity, the impartiality toward all beings, not holding other beings with ill will, is based on the idea, based on the understanding that every single person, those who cause harm, those who we react to, they will be the inheritors of their karma, of their actions. You don't have to wish them ill will. That's a punishment you give to yourself. They will, if they've done harm, they will experience the fruits of that. You don't have to add to it and add to your own by holding ill will. By remembering that everyone is the heir of their karma, of their actions, we maintain much more equanimity. So go back to this. So with a boundless heart, should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upward to the skies, downward to the depths, outward and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down. Again, syncing up to whatever posture you're in. Another great protection. Being aware of sitting, being aware of walking, being aware of lying down, being aware of moving to and fro. Free from drowsiness, Joel. Free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, that's into another cause of the reactive mind, is attachment to views and opinions. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from the dependency on sense desires, another one that feeds the reactive mind. Being freed from this dependency is not born again into the cycles of suffering. So may we all grow in equanimity, grow in serenity, for the benefit of the people who have to live around us every day and all beings everywhere. So may all beings be liberated. May all beings open their tender hearts. May all beings open to dukkha as it is. Thank you so much for hanging in there tonight. Thanks, Mary, for co-hosting as always.